Ramadan does not begin with pressure, punishment, or spiritual exhaustion. It begins with mercy. This is one of the most misunderstood realities about this month. Many people approach Ramadan already weighed down by guilt, thinking about what they didn't do last year, the habits they never fixed, the promises they broke. But Allah did not design Ramadan to crush hearts. He designed it to heal them. The very opening of this month is an invitation, not an interrogation. Before you fast a single day, before you stand in a single prayer, before you recite a single verse, mercy has already descended. That mercy is what allows you to begin at all. The first days of Ramadan aren't about proving your strength. They are about receiving Allah's gentleness. If this month were meant to be a burden, Allah would not have placed mercy at its entrance. He knows the condition of His servants, their weaknesses, their exhaustion, their inconsistency. He knows who comes into Ramadan hopeful and who comes in barely holding on. And yet He opens the month with compassion, signaling that this journey is not about perfection, but about return. The doors are open not because we deserve it, but because Allah is merciful. This is why the Prophet described the beginning of Ramadan as days of mercy. Mercy means being met with kindness when you expect rejection. Mercy means being given space to grow instead of being punished for falling short. Mercy means that Allah welcomes even the hesitant heart, the distracted worshipper, the one who starts slowly. Ramadan does not demand that you arrive spiritually strong. It promises to make you stronger if you simply step inside. That promise begins in the first 10 days. When Allah opens Ramadan with mercy, He is teaching us something profound about how He deals with His servants. He does not start by counting sins. He starts by opening doors. He does not begin by demanding outcomes. He begins by offering nearness. This is why even small acts in these early days carry immense weight. A simple intention, a quiet door, a hesitant step toward prayer, all of it is received with generosity. The mercy of these days, what makes growth possible later in the month. The first 10 days are called the days of Rama because they are meant to soften the heart. A heart hardened by routine sins, distractions, or disappointment cannot leap immediately into deep worship. It needs gentleness first. It prepares the soul. It loosens what has been tight for months, sometimes years. It reassures the servant that Allah is not waiting to expose them, but to embrace them. That reassurance is essential. Without it, worship becomes fear-driven and fragile. With it, worship becomes sincere and sustainable. Rama in these days shows itself in subtle ways. You may feel a sudden desire to make dua after a long time of silence. You may feel emotional during a verse you've read many times before. You may feel an unexpected calm at iftar or a pull toward prayer even when you're tired. These are not coincidences. They are signs of mercy working quietly on the heart. Allah does not always announce His gifts loudly. Often His mercy arrives as a gentle shift within you. The beauty of the first 10 days is that they ask for very little but give so much. You are not required to have everything figured out. You are not required to transform overnight. You are only asked to show up. And when you do, Allah meets you with rahmah that exceeds your effort. This is why those who miss the first days often feel like they are chasing the month later. These days lay the foundation. They tune the heart to receive what comes next. Understanding that these are days of mercy also changes how you view yourself. Instead of asking, am I doing enough? You begin asking, am I turning back? That shift is everything. Mercy is not about quantity, it is about direction. A heart that turns toward Allah, even slowly, is already within the shade of His rahmah. This is why despair has no place in the opening of Ramadan. Despair contradicts mercy. Hopelessness misunderstands Allah. Allah opens Ramadan by reminding you who He is before reminding you who you should be. He is Ar-Rahman. He is Ar-Rahim. He is the one who accepts the servant before perfecting the servant. When you internalize this, Ramadan stops feeling intimidating and starts feeling safe. Safe enough to be honest. Safe enough to try. Safe enough to fail and return again. The first 10 days are not a warm-up in a worldly sense. They are a spiritual reassurance. They tell the believer, you are welcome here. No matter how far you feel, no matter how inconsistent you've been, no matter how heavy your past feels, mercy has already gone ahead of you. Allah opened the month knowing exactly who would enter it. And He opened it anyway, with Rama leading the way. Allah opens doors before we even knock. And this truth reshapes how we understand our relationship with Him, especially in Ramadan. Many people believe access to Allah comes only after effort, discipline, or visible change. They think doors open once they become better, more consistent, more worthy. But Ramadan corrects this misunderstanding immediately. The doors are already open at its arrival. Forgiveness is available before repentance is perfected. Nearness is offered before habits are fixed. Allah initiates the invitation, not the servant. This is not because we have earned it, but because Allah's generosity precedes our action. When Allah opens doors first, He removes the fear that keeps hearts distant. Fear of not being good enough, fear of hypocrisy, fear of starting and failing again. By opening doors early, Allah makes it clear that coming to Him is not a reward for righteousness, but a path toward it. You do not approach Ramadan as someone standing outside, hoping to be let in. You approach it already welcomed, already granted access, already surrounded by opportunity. This is why even those who feel spiritually weak still feel something shift when Ramadan begins. That shift is the sign of doors opening quietly. These doors are not always visible in dramatic ways. Sometimes they appear as a softened heart after a long period of dryness. Sometimes they appear as a sudden motivation to pray, to read Qur'an, to make dua, without knowing exactly why. Sometimes they appear as obstacles being removed, distractions losing their grip, or time feeling more spacious. These are openings. Allah rearranges circumstances before the servant even realizes what they need. He creates pathways of return that feel natural rather than forced. Understanding that Allah opens doors first also protects the believer from arrogance and despair. Arrogance disappears because you realize access was never earned. Despair disappears because you realize access was never denied. Everything good that happens in Ramadan flows from Allah's initiative, not our strength. When you step through these doors, you are responding to mercy, not manufacturing it. And when you fall short, you are not locked out. You are still inside the space Allah opened for you. Your intention matters more than perfection, especially in these opening days. Intention is the direction of the heart, and Allah looks at hearts before actions. A flawless routine without sincerity is empty, while a shaky effort filled with honesty is deeply valued. Many people delay worship because they want to do it properly. They wait for the right schedule, the right mindset, the right level of energy. But intention does not wait for perfection. It begins with desire. A simple decision, I want to be closer to Allah, can outweigh many imperfect actions. In the first days of Ramadan, intention carries unusual weight because it sets the trajectory of the entire month. Allah knows that consistency develops gradually. He does not expect instant transformation. What He looks for is willingness. When you intend good, even if your actions stumble, Allah records the direction you chose. This is why a person who intends to pray regularly but misses prayers is not the same as a person who never intended to begin. The heart that wants Allah is already moving toward Him, even when the body struggles to keep pace. Perfection focuses on outcome. Intention focuses on sincerity. Perfection asks, should I do enough? Intention asks, why am I doing this? Ramadan teaches that the second question matters more. A single fast kept with awareness, a single page of Qur'an read with presence, a single dua made with honesty can outweigh large actions done mechanically. This does not mean effort is unimportant. It means effort is guided by intention, not pressured by performance. When intention leads, failure no longer feels like rejection. It feels like part of the journey. You return more easily. You repent faster. You don't abandon the month because you missed a night prayer or wasted an afternoon. You understand that Allah sees your direction, not just your speed. This keeps the heart alive. A heart obsessed with perfection becomes brittle and easily broken. A heart anchored in intention remains soft and resilient. These two realities, Allah opening doors first and intention outweighing perfection, work together. Allah opens the door, so you are not afraid to step forward. He values intention, so you are not crushed when you stumble. Together they create a Ramadan that is sustainable, healing, and real. You are not performing for Allah. You are responding to Him. And that response, however imperfect, is already wrapped in mercy. Small deeds are magnified immediately in Ramadan, and this reality challenges how people usually measure value. Outside of this month, many believers associate impact with scale. Long prayers, large charity, major changes. Ramadan shifts that scale completely. What seems small to you is not small to Allah, especially when it is done at a time He has honored. A sip of water avoided with intention becomes worship. A few words of remembrance whispered sincerely outweigh hours of distracted action. The immediacy of this multiplication is part of Allah's mercy. He does not make you wait until you are strong to reward you. He rewards you while you are still trying. This instant magnification serves an important purpose. It encourages movement. If Allah delayed reward until deeds became consistent or impressive, many hearts would never begin. By multiplying small actions right away, Allah shows the servant that effort is seen from the first step. This is especially crucial at the beginning of Ramadan, when motivation is fragile and habits are unformed. A single act done with awareness can create spiritual momentum. That momentum is not psychological alone. It is divinely placed barakah that makes the next act easier. Small deeds also protect sincerity. When actions are modest, they are less likely to be performed for show. A quiet tasbih, a short dua, a single verse recited attentively. These are actions known mostly to Allah. Their value lies in their honesty. Ramadan elevates these moments so the believer learns that closeness to Allah is not built only through visible sacrifice, but through consistent, sincere connection. This reframes worship from a performance to a relationship. The immediacy of reward also means that nothing is wasted in these days. No effort disappears. No attempt is ignored. Even moments of restraint, holding your tongue, lowering your gaze, choosing patience, are recorded as acts of worship. This awareness changes how a person moves through the day. Ordinary moments become charged with meaning. The believer becomes attentive, not anxious. Hope replaces pressure. When you know that Allah is multiplying even your smallest steps, you stop waiting for the right moment and start living Ramadan actively. This leads directly into the importance of the first night, setting the tone for the entire month. The beginning of any journey shapes what follows, and Ramadan is no different. The early nights are not meant to exhaust the believer, but to orient the heart. What you give attention to at the start quietly becomes your norm. If the heart tastes sweetness early, it seeks it again. If it experiences stillness and prayer early, it longs to return to it. These nights are not about doing everything, they are about choosing something and honoring it. The tone set in the first nights is often subtle. It may be the decision to pray one prayer without rushing. It may be reading a small portion of Qur'an with reflection rather than speed. It may be making dua consistently at a certain time. These choices tell the soul what this month is about. When the soul receives a clear message early, it organizes itself around it. When the start is neglected, the rest of the month often feels scattered, reactive, and rushed. Allah, in His wisdom, places immense opportunity at the beginning so the believer is not overwhelmed later. The first nights are quieter in demand but heavier in influence. They build spiritual muscle memory. They teach the body and heart how to respond to the rhythm of Ramadan. When worship is introduced gently, it becomes sustainable. When it is delayed or ignored, catching up later feels heavy and forced. This is why those who protect even one small practice early often find the rest of the month unfolding more smoothly. Setting the tone is also about mindset. If Ramadan begins with mercy, ease, and intention, the believer approaches challenges differently later. Hunger, fatigue, and busyness are interpreted as parts of worship rather than obstacles to it. The heart remembers why it started. That memory stabilizes the believer when motivation dips. The first nights quietly store resilience for the days ahead. There is also a spiritual openness in the early nights that is not accidental. Hearts are more receptive. Distractions have not yet accumulated. The novelty of the month brings awareness. Allah places barakah in this window so that even brief moments of worship leave a deep imprint. Ignoring these nights does not close the door, but honoring them opens pathways that last far beyond them. The believer who invests early is not trying harder later. They are being carried by momentum already placed by Allah. Together, the magnification of small deeds and the influence of the first nights teach a consistent lesson. Ramadan is built gently, not aggressively. Allah does not demand dramatic change overnight. He invites sincere beginnings and multiplies them. He honors small actions and uses early efforts to shape the entire journey. When this is understood, the believer stops underestimating what seems minor and stops delaying what can begin now. The month unfolds not as a burden to survive, but as a space to grow. one sincere step at a time.